Hey, sweet souls, it's DTO in the flow, wanting you to know that today, live from Costa Rica, I get to interview and share with you two incredible, talented souls, Sita Rose, cosmic singer, and Kapha, music producer. Wow, this remix, if anyone has been paying attention to the seven chakras, how about your third eye? How about that intuition? How about that seeing what's possible, envisioning your pathway in life? And for us to request from the universe, where do I go? What do I do? What is the way? So this song, as you can see here, is the way. It is the way. And anyone that asks for that, requests that, this song, I feel, really will get you in your body to move, to dance, to sing along with the mantra, Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha, and show me the way. Show me, show me, show me, show me the way. And my way has been to be expressed through music and creativity on my path. And today we're going to speak with Sita Rose and Kapha to hear about their origin story, how they got into music, how music is now an embodied part of their life, how they get to create from seed to song, what that process is like as a musician. So this is live streaming on a variety of platforms. So it doesn't matter where you are, whichever place or space, you could be watching this live or on the archive. And so I invite you in this moment, if you're here, just to presence yourself by, you can comment, you can ask a question. Sharing is caring. Simply choose your favorite emoji and drop it right in the comments on whichever platform you're on. We are on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch. And make sure if you haven't followed me on Instagram or checked out my website, I actually got brand new merch at dtomusic.com/shop. Got some great t-shirts and sweatshirts, and love to have you rock my gear. That would be awesome. And today, first I'm going to welcome in Sita Rose because we're going to talk about how this song, The Way, that was from my album Infinite Energy, even came about. And then Sita Rose also created another version of the song on her album that followed the seven chakras. And then this month, Kapha launched the remix of The Way. So without further ado, let's bring on the lovely Sita Rose. Hey, Sita Rose.
Hey, DTO. Thank you so much for having me. It's really nice to see how the way continues to reveal itself.
Absolutely. And the pathway. And I love this photo of you as you're looking up to the heavens, to the sky, to the great spirit, to be guided. Show me the way. Show me the way. And a fun backstory about this project, which was on Infinite Energy, is that this song, when we created it at the time, I wasn't living in Costa Rica. I was actually living in a 10 by 10, 100 square feet, small little casita in Southern California. And I had been I had a lot of things in my life wiped out, right? It was just a very simple, clean way for me to be, and having gratitude in the small stuff is really what's important. Gratitude as an attitude. And all the singers that collaborated on this project, we got to work together in this small little cool space out in the middle of Poway, California. If anyone knows, there's a right way, the wrong way, and the Poway. And Sita Rose was always going to be, someone that I wanted to collaborate for many years because we're in the kirtan vibe. And actually, we brought our harmonium to Costa Rica, Sita Rose. So when you come to visit, or anyone else that comes to visit or comes to one of our retreats, you'll get to hear our harmonium that Himalaya bought in India years ago. So it's been to India, to California, to festivals, and now it's here at our home in Costa Rica. So first things first, this track, The Way. Wow. What do you feel about this song? Because today we're going to be introducing the third version of this song. So the first version is what you and I created, and then you launched it on your album as more an acoustic version. And then the third version is a whole other genre of music that's incredible. And yeah, so when someone says the way, or when you were singing and creating the lyrics, and by the way, anyone that wants to know my behind the scenes approach, I feel like I'm more like the gardener, like creating, putting the soil of the songs together. And then I'm always seeking like the sunflower or the rose, we'll call her, that will emerge. And in this situation, besides me producing it all and then bringing that music to a singer, this was a full-on co-production. And I love that, because we even had a pact to be like, okay, we're not going to work on it unless we're both in the same studio space making it happen. So I'd love for you to share about your process and what the song The Way means to you.
Oh, thank you for bringing me back to those moments. So, The Way really was this beautiful, it's such a beautiful collaboration. And, being in a space where you can collaborate with someone, it just brings out so much more that's possible, at least in this collaboration with you, DTO. And so, the behind the scenes really is what is present, what is present in this moment? What chords do we even want to play? And I remember sitting with you and I was like, okay, like here's this beautiful progression. And then, bouncing that track. And then I took it and I actually went to a beautiful location right on the coast. In Pines. I had my headphones in and I had just gone for a walk and I just sat and I think I was about to meet you. And I just sat there and I kept listening and kept listening and kept listening. And the mantra of like, show me the way just kept coming through. And so, that's really part of my process. Is a big piece of that is like repetition. And so whether it's, having a loop to sing along with or having, just in a verse, having the same structure, just like, okay, and then what? And then what's here? Like, let me try singing this in a different way. Let me try improvising over the top of this and just keep excavating what wants to be revealed. And so that was the poetic, version of how the song came to be. And, I sat with the lyrics and then I was like, okay, there's something here. There's some numbers here. I kept feeling the potency of number 3. That's kind of a code for things coming in threes. There's like a verse 2, 3 little segments. And then letting things like take over. And that is just, it's electric, and something feels really, it's like listening to what the song wants to be. And
I love that.
Yeah, we really, really got to be in that curiosity. And I brought the lyrics back to you. And then you're like, okay, then what if, what if we drop the bass right here? And it's like, takes another turn and it just keeps evolving. And I think that's what's been so cool about this particular track on your album is that it got to have another life and it lived on my album in essence. And that was, another exploration through the chakras and a completely different feeling to it. And yet this, like, it continues to evolve. And now handing it over to Kapha, who just like blasted it out of the cosmos. And now it continues. Yeah, I really love how there's this thread, there's this seed, and it continues to open up and reveal. And who knows what's going to happen next.
Yeah. Wow. We have some great announcements of what's going to happen next because we have shot a music video. Actually, we did this video shoot February, March 2020. And most people that can remember what happened in time and space. By the way, today is a day that ends in the letter Y. And a lot of people just kind of been free floating for the last however many months. And so that was, we had a time set. We had 15, 20 people that came on set to film this video. It was amazing. Like what we put together and the community. That's the word that comes to me all the time. And let's show the album art that was for Infinite Energy and talking about featuring global singers around the world. And you said it was electric, and actually there's a song called Electricidad by our soul sister Tamara. So this whole album was electric. And of course we did a big launch at the World Beat Center for Radiance. And then the whole album launch was at the Belly Up in Solana Beach, which both of those shows were sold out, magical nights. And yeah, so as everyone can see this beautiful art, all the photography was taken by Aaron Dressen and Jennifer Quest, super amazing soul brother and sister. And this whole vision of having 7 songs for 7 chakras, like you created your album that had the same vision. Kiyoshi created his album Medicine Garden that had the same vision. And actually Kiyoshi is featured on the track Ethereal with AT, and big shout out to AT, as well as Sabrina. And Sabrina and I have a remix coming out by Compass, and I know Kapha knows Compass, and he's incredible as well. And then Himalaya in the center, my heart chakra, she has Shakti Vortex, which we filmed the video for that. We did a remix with Color, did this amazing producer up in LA, and then Tamara. And then we got a remix by this guy in England for that track, Slim Tim. And then we have Sacred Connection, Emma Grace, Crystal Camino on saxophone. And then actually just last night, I was showing my friends, one of my friends from Italy, the song Dolce Ador by Andrea Sainz. And she's from Colombia. She sings in Italian. She lives in France, and she's a global person as well. So I love how all of us are so connected. And we have a text thread called the Chakra Sisters. And so every time there's a remix, there's a music video, we always share that. So this has been really powerful for us to stay connected. So let's introduce to everyone and debut this music video for the first minute or so. So no one has seen this. And again, this was filmed once upon a time in San Diego, just like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. And we did 3 different locations. We're out in the desert, right? Themes of 3, right? Sita Rose, you said it earlier. The desert, the ocean, and then an urban city setting in San Diego. So we may not get to all 3 settings, but I'd love to share with everyone at least the first part of the original version of The Way from the album Infinite Energy. Let me back it up. Here we go. All right, that was a quick little sneak peek. And we have the full video that will be launching on YouTube this summer. We'll pick the date. We're going to do an online virtual launch party. So that's exciting.
So excited to put that out into the universe. It was such a beautiful expression. Yeah, and you said it, community coming together. The full lockdown, like what an epic thing to like remember.
Yeah, and remember there was our friend Amanda that came dressed as a panda. I was like, we had everyone in their own self-expression, and that's what art is, right? That's what music is. That's what life is. We're here. It's a dance, right? As famously Alan Watts said, we're not here to, you can't work music, you play music. And that's what it's really about. And taking these pieces of the puzzle and these seeds is what Kapha did next with this amazing remix. So let's bring Kapha on.
Hey,
how's it going, brother?
Good. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, thanks for chilling in the green room. Appreciate that. Nice to see you. And so I mentioned I'm in Costa Rica, Sita Rose is in San Diego, and you're also in California.
Yep, based out of San Francisco, Northern California.
Wonderful. Fantastic. So let's hear from you because we have, of course, the origin story of how Sita Rose created the lyrics, how we co-produced this song. Once you got these stems and once you and I, connected and I know we've been in communication around you doing a remix, and I've loved your material, everything that you've been creating, and been a big fan of what you've been up to in the world of production, and you producing your own and then creating remixes. And that's something that I stepped into a couple of years ago, actually. First of all, I started creating that, own self-expression of like, here's what I want to create as my signature sound. And then what I love about remixes is you get to have your brand new, fresh interpretation, just like Sita Rose shared, where she did another version of The Way on her album. And so when the seeds of this song, and so for anyone that doesn't understand how stem files work, what we're basically doing is, think of it like a 7-layer burrito, right? We have the beans, the rice, the guacamole, the gallo pinto or the pico de gallo. And then we put all these pieces together and it makes one thing, right? It's all the layers. And so when a remix producer needs to create a fresh approach to a song, you need to separate those layers. And so those are called stem files. And so certain producers grab certain stem files, certain parts and pieces and ingredients to the recipe are like, oh, this has to be in there. And then what I love what you did with this remix, Kapha, is you really took Sita Rose's incredible, beautiful cosmic singing, and you just made this like swirl of energy that, unless you're in it with headphones and in that space, it just gets you in a, it's great because most people don't know this, but the original definition of the word mantra, does anyone know what that means? Put it in the chat if you know. It means like you're being mesmerized, right? You're being in a place of, you're putting in that magic into that moment, right? So you're feeling a particular energy or emotion. And so let's kick it off. I'd love to give everyone an example of what this track sounds like, and then I'll have you discuss more about it. Here we go. Here is the remix of The Way by Kapha. So awesome, Kapha.
Thanks, man.
Yes. It's hard to turn it off, but I want people to have a little sneak peek at this and get inspired to add this to your playlist. And join the fun of what this track has meant for us. And love to hear what your approach was when you first got the stems to this remix project.
Well, I mean, the stems were amazing, so that makes it always easier to work with. It makes it easier to focus really on the production of it. A lot of things that spoke to me were first the mantra that Sita Rose had spoke about earlier, and that's why it kind of was the common thread throughout the entire song. It didn't really go away for most of it. Even at some parts where it sounded like it went away, it was actually a reverse vocal that was layered on top of it, and that's what kind of gave it some swirling effects with the reverbs and stuff. But yeah, I mean, a lot of it, for me, it was the organic part of it melding with the electronic part of it is really what I'm all about. The stems themselves, you know, the flutes and the you know, the vocals, and I even used some of the kicks and stuff because they were just, you know, perfectly placed. But, you know, layering that in with a multitude of other instruments like sitar, there was violins in there. There was even BPM changes, which was awesome. It was just kind of like this whole journey that the track took you on, and it really kind of just unfolded by itself as one of the easiest tracks I've ever written.
That's amazing. Yeah. And similar to what Sita Rose said earlier, when you said it's one of the easiest tracks you've written, is because when a song takes becomes like its own entity, right? And you're at some point, you know, like a sculpture, I think it was famously said that, you know, the sculpture, like it's already there, like just before you start to sculpt, your job is to remove what doesn't need to be there anymore. And it's almost like the reverse, just like when you reverse the vocals. As a musician, as an artist, as a producer, your role is to almost like placing the puzzle pieces where they, like the great spirit of the song that's about to emerge chooses to be. And then you as a producer at some point, you're guided towards that, just like Sita Rose shared, like she was guided towards having these songs come through. And, you know, the tool for the mind, the mantra, and the declaration that I see, you know, that's the third eye. So you're able to put out this very powerful mantra that allows for people to feel and see and embody what the music and the beats create. And what I love about your approach to music, Kapha, is that you are a genius in the genre that you work in, and you really honor the ancient Eastern instruments that have been introduced to Western music. And of course, everyone has heard of the Beatles, and they're the first popular band worldwide. George Harrison learned how to play the sitar in India. He was taught, and then he brought that in. The first song ever was Norwegian Wood, that had Western instruments and Eastern instruments that was heard globally. And so here we are, you know, 50 plus years later, and creating these incredible electronic plus Eastern and Western instruments. You said violin, of course, the sitar, and all these other sounds. Wow. And then with this beautiful mantra that Sita Rose sang. So let's bring Sita Rose in. I'd love to have all three of us here. Hey, the team's gathered.
So beautiful.
Yes. And so we gotta, since Kapha's in the middle, you know what's next. Boom. There's the man. This is an awesome shot. This is great. Yeah, you're a man on a mission, and you're seeing the way, and you have created a beautiful pathway to your music career. And, you know, for all of us, it's just the beginning, right? We're beginning to play with what's possible with our inspiration of this yogic pathway. And a lot of people, you know, I'm from the cornfields of Iowa, and I know Sita Rose, you're from the Midwest as well. And there's this whole approach that us as Westerners, we get to take on these practices and these pathways. And I've done my 200-hour teacher training, right? That means, you know, I've learned the different shapes you can make in your body, or these asana postures. But yoga, for a lot of people, only think it's the practice, the physical practice. And all of us know deeper and deeper that there's a whole other like layers of gifts that start to unravel and unfold within us. And Himalaya actually recently got, Jeffrey Armstrong did the Bhagavad Gita, a new interpretation of it that's even easier for Westerners to read and understand the mythology of, you know, well, your name's Sita, right? And so it's beautiful, and Kapha, right? And so it's great. And DTO is down to Om. So why would someone want to Om? What does that create? So I love how the three of us are these soul travelers, recognizing that we have a knack for music and sounds, that we can put these together to create a whole story, and possibly plant a seed in someone to say, wow, I want to move my body, or I want to discover more about the 7 chakras. And whoa, what is this? The root chakra, and then the crown chakra, and the heart chakra. And so that's what's really great, I feel, about music, is there's this whole dance. So speaking about dancing, this is a track that I feel, when we do our Costa Rica retreat, by the way, Himalaya has already said, we're going to be, for a Friday night celebration, this is going to be the song. So this artwork, oh my gosh, the second Kapha you sent this artwork over, I was like, whoa, this is incredible. It's spaciousness. There's the sun in the back. the third eye is about vision and seeing. It's like I see possibilities. I see this open landscape. And so I'm grateful that we got to have that. And then I want to give a big shout out to Shiansi. He's the one who did the motion video that hasn't moved to the rhythms. And I think that's great. And I feel like the community is a part of what we are for and what we're about. And there's a global yoga community. So I'd love to hear from each of you. When did each of you start to practice yoga or hear about the medicine of yoga?
I guess I'll go first. Yeah. So I was actually pretty much later in my life. I hadn't done it all through college. I mean, I knew about yoga, and I just never, really saw the benefits of it. I was kind of just working out in the gym and would walk by and I'd be like, oh, it's a bunch of people stretching. That's, kind of cool. But, as you get older, it's, you find your way, not to, repeat that again, but it came out of physical therapy for me. And then I was like, oh, this is, something that's actually really beneficial. And then it got way deeper than that. It was, then it was, reading the Bhagavad Gita, like you said, and it was learning about, ancient Sanskrit texts. And then now, here we are playing sitars in my songs and stuff. So
that's incredible. Awesome. Sita Rose, what about your journey with yoga?
Yeah. I was always really into the body, growing up dancing. And it was in college that I really started to, I went to my first class and that was, that experience of like, wow, okay, on this layer, I'm releasing stress. I feel good in my body. And then about 2012 is when I took my first training and I went to India. I also brought back my first harmonium. And that, I really merged. I came out to California to do music therapy. And so part of my journey into sacred chanting and mantra work was I stepped into a yoga studio and they were chanting. And I was like, what is this? What is this? This like brings community. It feels very devotional. It feels very much like music therapy. Like this is what I've been looking for in my soul. And so I just felt right at home. And that really like breadcrumb after breadcrumb after breadcrumb, just like Kapha said, just continuously deepening the teachings of yoga philosophy and the sacredness of sound. I think, it's not to be understated, right? Like this is how we interact with the vibration of the universe, and how can we be in that expression of sound? How can we explore that within our own instruments? As you can see, that's my passion is like really unleash their voice, really connect with, their whole instrument. And
absolutely.
The voice really illustrates that. So
you teach this, right? So anyone out there that's interested, you have online classes, you have private sessions, voice of the creatrix, voice of the influencer, ceremony music. This is really beautiful. Oh, I love that flyer. That's incredible.
Yes. Expression, right? It's all about like, how do we express ourselves in this world? And so two group programs, some private sessions. I also work with with other people and perform. And so there's a lot of ways to connect with me and a lot of ways to really connect with your own vibration.
I love that, Sita Rose. That's incredible. Yes. And, when people feel music or dance to music or appreciate music, I feel like there's this yearning for people to seek some other artistic expression or to follow the pathway of being a musician, right? So the artwork that gets created is inspired by the music. And when people are taking some of your courses and sessions, I'm sure that from there, they're like, oh, what am I here to create? How am I a creatrix? Like, what is that that's not yet revealed? And so I love how you're guiding and being a leader in the world when it comes to what's possible. It's fantastic.
Thank you.
That's amazing. All right. So when it comes to this pathway of yoga, and when we talk about music, so I'd love Kapha to go first here. So question 2 here is, what inspired you to create your own music? Like after falling in love with music, knowing that music is something you absolutely are guided to be, creating. Like what inspired you, and what kind of artist maybe inspired you to start diving in and doing it yourself?
Yeah, so I started playing music when I was like 12 or 13. I started with guitar, as a lot of people do. And I didn't really, I jammed with friends. I had friends that went to Berkeley School of Music, and, there were great musicians that I, always hung out with. And I really didn't get into production until I was after college, actually. One of those same friends, actually, I went over to his house and he's like, press these buttons. Let's see what you can do. And I was like, all right, whatever, I'll try it out. And it was just a bunch of stems that were, it was a live remix. And, I was hooked from that point. I never worked with Ableton or any, DAW from before that. And, it was diving right into it from there. But, a lot of it came from my experiences in college. A lot of it really came from, yoga and, listening to sound healing. I've done a lot of work with that, the solfeggio frequencies. And there's a whole album attuned I have that actually every song has that frequency for each of the chakras. And there's a meditation side, and there's also the electronic side. So it's like 14 tracks. But a lot of that, I had gone through, as a producer, you go through this, hype stage too, where you want to, you want everybody, we want everybody dancing and moving all the time. And that led me to like make more heavier electronic music. But, at the end of the day, I was inspired by Emancipator and, more down-tempo music, things with organic instruments that you could still move to. And they still had electronic sounds, but they were just, more natural feeling. So yeah, I mean, probably the biggest influences were Emancipator for me. I mean, I love Spangle, I love trance music too, that kind of stuff, the jungle vibes. So it kind of was cross genres, I guess I could say. Because you had like, the trance genre, and you had Emancipator that was doing more violins. And then, of course I grew up listening to the Beatles. So I had, that influence when I was younger, and all this Led Zeppelin and all that kind of stuff. So there was a yearning for organic instruments, and marrying the two of electronic and organic was kind of where I found my niche.
Nice, love that. How about you, Sita Rose?
So beautiful. Yeah, if you were to ask my parents what I would do when I was a little girl, would be make dancing in the living room, making up songs, putting on shows. Right? This is what I would do when I was 6, right? And so I think that like that purity of just wanting to create something, wanting to be in my own expression, like it just never left. It never left me. I often, going through music school or going through, we both share roots in Iowa. I went to the University of Iowa. And
Go Hawkeyes. Big shout out all my Hawkeye fans out there. So my alma mater, I got to do it. Come on.
Right? I love it. And, I just kind of felt like I didn't quite fit into the boxes that I was perceiving. I was like, okay, there's theater, there's music, there's opera. But I was like, but what is my voice? Like, what do I want to be creating? And so, it's been a part of my fabric. I think that's just, in the codes of who I am, is to innovate and to create new music and inspire others to create new music, because it's such a space of connecting to the divine that for me and for many other people, that it's such a gift to really give yourself the freedom to express in that way. And so, I grew up playing covers. I would be in musical theater, but it just wasn't something that fed me in a way that like, wow, to generate something, to connect to that creative life force energy is everything. Like that is just a way that inspires me. And so I'd say, it really inspired, like the creations keep inspiring me to create new.
Wow. What I'm hearing from both of you too is like there's this curiosity, like you're this little girl dancing and just like, I'm going to play with my dance movements and play with the sounds and and whatever it takes, and you going to Berkeley School of Music is amazing, to Kapha for you to bring that. And of course, going to the University of Iowa, come on, Big Ten. And it's really incredible, I feel, when we have that curiosity, because then that is inspiration. Like I'm true believer that if every day at some point we don't get back to basics and say, hey, I'm in the sandbox of life. Like I get to play with toys. I get to build castles. I get to create cool sound waves. I get to reverse this stem and whoa, 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 and do this and make this sound with my voice and play around with this. It's just like every moment we get this opportunity. And of course we get, this whole adulting thing that comes in our way, paying the bills and doing errands and, the basics, worrying about stuff, that's the classic symptom of being an adult, where you have this self-expression and freedom when you're this little boy or little girl energy that can cultivate. And that's what I love. And the three of us know this because we've all collaborated with other musicians. And obviously we're in this collaborative project that it's like, oh, wow, here's what I can do. And here's what you can do. And let's synergize. I love the cosmic equation, 1 + 1 = infinity. Because you get, and then you bring 1 + 1 + 1 + 1. Now it's like infinite possibilities where you can design and create whatever you choose. So let's keep on going with these questions. Number 3 for Kapha is, so you talked about your influences and getting on the dance floor and making people move and down tempo and different styles of music. So how do people in general respond to your music, whether you're playing a live set or people are just hitting you up and DMing you and telling you how they enjoy your music? Like what are some words or adjectives or ways that people, respond and give you feedback?
Cosmic's actually one of them. I get a lot. It's pretty galactic. I've heard that one too. But yeah, I mean, most people, they want to dance, and that's, I feel like music, that's what you want to do. You move your body to the rhythm of the music. So a lot of people, they'll come up to me and say, oh, I've never really heard, this kind of instrument in that song. And, oh, wow, you're using electronic music with, a guitar or something like that. And, it's kind of, it opens up their own musical space as well. It kind of gives them like free reign to think, oh, music isn't just this box that you stay in. And that's true for any type of music, not just electronic music or, any kind of, it's pretty much any music. There's guidelines, not rules. And people, that I connect with, even beyond the audience, just, friends that are producers and stuff like that, it's funny because they can't even place where my music is a lot of times, and I have a problem when I go to release a track what genre I'm in. So people are, I think, it's
the worst question you can ask a producer. What kind of music do you play?
Yeah, seriously.
It's called Kapha. That's what it's called. Like, check it out.
Yeah. But it's no, and I think a lot of people, a lot of people have emotional release. I played with a lot of yoga classes, especially my attuned album. That was like, I got a lot of comments on the sound healing side of it more than I did on the electronic side of it, when I'm a more electronic musician than I am a sound healer, and by all means. But having that experience for people to, providing that experience where, they can work through something emotionally, spiritually, even physically in a yoga class. I feel like that's kind of where my music lies. It's really like, a release of whatever you're feeling at the time, and it gets you moving, and it keeps you moving. That's what I like to do, keep you moving.
I love that. And before we hopped on an interview today, as I was sharing with you, I've listened to your remix 100 times minimum, if not more, just have it on repeat. And actually I love these video clips on your website, kaphamusic.com, because you're being shown the way, you're on a journey, you're walking, you're in nature. I love it. The Kapha experience. These are great shots.
Thanks,
really cool. Really great. Yeah. So that's what I love of, as you said, galactic, cosmic. These are some words that people share with you. And yeah, it's awesome when there's 4 steps of communication. I'm going to pop into my teacher mode for a second. Is everyone's experiencing it right now. And I'm going to give you a quick example of it. Right. So there's the sender. Right now I'm sending. Step 1. Step 2, there's a message. The message is my words that I'm speaking right now, or my energy, however you're feeling the vibes. And then number 3, there's the receiver. And right now, for example, Christina just wrote in. She's here. She's receiving this interview right now. So that's awesome. And you're hearing it. And then number 4 is there's the feedback. And the feedback is someone, Christina just wrote in, or people might listen to your music as you were sharing and have whatever unique experience, but maybe they're going to say it's cosmic, galactic, and it gets them moving on the dance floor. So that's what I love about any art form, when you can really have that full loop, right, of sender, message, receiver, feedback. And that's what really, every artist and musician, they'll say, of course, there's this cathartic experience that you're having internally as you're creating for creation's sake. Like the Zen Buddhist philosophy, if you ever are washing the dishes and you're like, why am I doing this? Then you hack your brain and say, I'm washing the dishes because I'm washing the dishes. Don't put any meaning into it, right? So why am I creating music? I'm creating music because I'm creating music, right? And I will say, because we are in this 21st century world where there's social media and there's people that can respond at any moment. Here we are live and anyone can comment or share this at any moment. The feedback does give us that extra juice to say, people are dancing to the music when I play it on the dance floor. Or people have shared with me that, wow, when I was in a yoga class, when I heard that track and I heard this section of the song, it's just like, whoa, it gave me this little aha moment, this epiphany. So I love that. All right, Sita Rose, same question for you. How do people respond to your music?
Oh, I love this conversation. Yeah, a lot of my music is live. Like I really love performing live, and that's where I really feel that reciprocity, right? It's like this relationship where like I'm giving of myself, but I'm also receiving feedback from whatever is being experienced. So, how do people respond? I think there's a subtlety that happens. There's ways where, just by playing the harmonium gets into people's hearts and it just starts to break up the unstuckable things, the like breaking at the resonance, like allowing for ourselves to be permeable and let the vibration move through. So, there's words like angelic that I've heard, and just heartfelt, really allowing for the vibration to speak for itself. The mantras also, there's so much wisdom in in chanting sacred and Sanskrit chants, or improvisation, and just having sound that's very, very primordial. And so that's really what I love, and that's why I can't get away from it. It's that those moments of really bringing in music. And I also bring all parts of myself. Like I bring my music therapy lens. I'm looking at their heart rate. I'm looking at their respiration. I'm looking at the test, feeling the energy. What does the energy want to move? And that you really become the baton. You get to like have this magic baton of creating a vibe and bringing people through a transformation and an experience. And that's what I love so much about music. And I love, that the synergy that gets created. So.
Yeah, I love watching you perform, as we can see a beautiful clip. This is awesome. So beautiful. Yeah. And I got to go to your album launch. That was incredible. And got to play on stage on the piano and listen to you. And yeah, the response of people, I feel, can be really powerful, especially, for anyone out there that's not aware of what kirtan is, but it's a style of music from India where there's a call and response, where you would sing a chant or mantra and then people would respond. And then when you have that, back and forth, ebb and flow, it can really fuel your soul and your heart, and you feel connected and you feel in the flow and you're vibing. And so, yeah, I love the energy of what music can do. And I love how you integrate all your skill sets into it. And you give such honor and grace to, the history of what the harmonium represents. And I had no clue you bought that harmonium in India. That's beautiful. So cool.
Yeah, that one.
Yes. There it is. Awesome. Well, let's jump into question 4 for Kapha. We'll start off. So what is your creative process? When painter has a blank canvas and then they figure out what kind of paintbrush and textures and what kind of oils to use, how to mix them together, what are the lines, the shapes, all that. I have a lot of amazing artist friends that are painters and muralists. So a musician, like, what's the approach for your creative process? Like, some people will go in nature, just like on your website. I saw you out in nature, probably absorbing the vibes of the Great Spirit, Mother Nature, and then like taking in some of that. Is there any regimen, routine, any process you go through when you're in that zone of creation? And anything you share, I feel is so unique to each of us. And I feel like each of us, no matter who I've ever met, there's something that goes into it. And I can speak for myself that there's been times where, as I was sharing earlier, we've all had this process where the song herself wants to emerge, and maybe you're in the way, not showing the way. Another shameless plug for the track name. There we go. The Way. We have to
The
throw
Way.
it on the screen. The Way. Yeah, this is The Way. Yeah, and we even wrote this before The Mandalorian, and Baby Yoda, Grogu, was talking about the way. This is the way. So the creative process, I'll let you run with this. So what is your process, brother?
It really varies. Sometimes something will come to me when I'm out on a walk, out by the beach. Sometimes it just starts with a loop and a key. Actually, a lot of times it starts with a loop and a key, but it's always organic. There's always an organic instrument. And most of my songs, if not all of them, I think all of them will start with organic instruments. Just setting the vibe and then working vertically. Like I mentioned Emancipator earlier. I mean, it's about layering for me. And I like how you compared it to sculpting, because it's essentially putting everything on there. Everything's kind of just on top of each other in almost like a vertical way. It's just going up and up and up, and it's all looping together, and it's all in the same key. So everything sounds great together. And then I spread that all out onto the canvas, so to speak. And then from that, you trim the fat. You remove this part there where it's not supposed to be, and that part there where it doesn't sound good with that sound. And I feel like when you work vertically like that, everything has a cohesiveness, and it all has this not the same vibe. I mean, it is the same vibe, but it all kind of melds together and flows together in a way that it's easy to write the track. I mean, you can just spread it out, and then it starts, flowing between transitional points in the track, from a verse to a chorus to, a breakdown to a bridge. And I think that, I mean, creativity just hits. It's for me, I could go, 2 or 3 weeks without writing a new track, and then all of a sudden I write a track in a day. I think a lot of it is reflecting on like what you're going through in your life. I mean, we're all, especially in this world today, we're all going through a lot, whether it's, directly or indirectly. And I feel like a lot of music that's actually being written today is part of that reflection process of, finding out what's important to us, finding out, when you spend a lot of time inside, you're finding out who you are and, what makes you. And that's kind of where I found myself going back to downtempo music is, I was stuck inside all day and I couldn't write, electronic tracks anymore that were just, there's no club to play them in. So, I had to write music that was, more for myself. And I feel like that's really important with musicians these days. I see a lot of producers and a lot of really, really good musicians that, they'll get this label sign or, they'll, want to be in that crowd, and they tend to lose themselves in the process. So staying true to yourself, I feel like, is one of the key parts of creating music. And not, I don't want to say selling out, but it's, you can't force it. And if you don't force it, things just naturally come to you. That's the best way to create.
Yeah, I love that. There's the trust, there's the patience, there's the allowing, there's that surrender. And I feel being in nature, as you were mentioning as well, is such a great way to absorb. And I've had those 3-week gaps too, where I haven't even touched an instrument, my piano, that's my go-to. And then all of a sudden it's like, it's in my soul and it wants to come out. It's like, okay, I'm ready. And it's like, you almost like clear the table of your life and like figure things out so you can make it happen. It's like, it's so powerful and strong. And anyone out there listening right now that's created anything, even if it's you create a business, you're creating a family, you're creating art in whichever expression of art that there is, or like what Himalaya and I did, we just moved internationally to Costa Rica. It was like, boom, we just made it happen. We felt it. We felt the pura vida. And so we're here, and it's so cool to witness each of us share what our processes are. So I can't wait to hear what Sita Rose has about question number 4. Tell us about your creative process. How do you do the magic that you do? How do you do that magic wand?
Yeah, it's different. I think like each time I feel that inspiration, kind of what you're speaking about, for me, it starts as a feeling. There's like a feeling that starts to grow in my belly, and I'm like, okay, all right, I'm gonna sit down at the keyboard. I'm gonna pull out the guitar. I also really love having a thing to show up for, whether it's like just practicing creativity. Sometimes I'll do these little challenges with myself of like, what would it be like to just sit down and create a verse in an hour or a song in an hour, and just like give myself these little things to keep the practice in my body, because it is I do feel like it is a practice. It is something that you can cultivate within yourself. I think it certainly continues to evolve. Like there are parts of my creativity that I haven't even met yet, and that is so thrilling for me. That is so thrilling. Like I mentioned earlier, I really love repetition. So I will play the same chords, on the guitar, and just like let myself flow with it, let myself be with it, make up different sounds. Like sometimes I'll make up my own language as I'm creating something, just to see like what word even wants to be here. Sometimes I don't have the lyrics I'll put together. Sometimes I do. I love collaborating with my partner, my husband, because he's such a lyricist, and he teaches me so much about, really dedicating to the craft of poetry and the songwriting process. And so collaboration is also a big part of learning who I am in this collaboration and what parts are brought out of me. So yeah.
I love that. Yes. And what's wonderful for you, that next level is you're mentoring, guiding, and sharing the creative process and inviting other people into the artist way, like what that looks like and how to have your heart be guided and to get out of your head and into your heart, right? And to allow and trust that. That's so beautiful, because we can be stingy, or we can be like, I'm only experienced this on my own, and I'm never going to share my own methodology to create what I do. But I think that the teacher within is always there. And obviously from the beginning of time, we're the students, right? We're in the classroom of life on earth here. As I was giving that analogy of being in the sandbox and having curiosity. So at any time we can step into that leadership role and say, here's what's possible, right? Here's the framework, here's the guidelines. And as Kapha said, I think it was Salvador Dali that said, teach me the rules so I can break them. I want to know what it is, but then I want to bend space and time and make whatever I can. And that's what's beautiful about you, Sita Rose, that Kapha and I can obviously not do, which is you can manipulate your throat chakra and create these incredible sounds. It's the most glorious instrument on the planet, is the human voice. You can do so much, and you can manipulate. You got frequencies to play with, and you can do the stutters. And, I always think of like the rhythm as being left to right. You have the doom, 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 and then you have the frequencies that go up and down, and you can just kind of like play with those XY factors at any time. And then you get into like the circle of fifths and theory, and we can geek out on that all day because all three of us are trained musicians. And then you just release all of that left brain, right brain, and just like pop out of your mind. And then at some point the song emerges, right? It's like the rose will grow if you have the proper conditions, if there's sunshine and soil and water, right? Those are the ingredients. We're in these themes of three today for some reason, maybe because three's a magic number. Is that what I've heard? Yeah, I think so. Okay, well, let's jump into question 5. I'm going to have both of you on air right now. So where can people connect with you? Thank you again for sharing everything that you have. Thank you for everyone that's been watching. Thank you, Christina. Someone didn't come up by name, so it's so wonderful how we can manipulate the octaves. Oh yeah, that's cool. Yeah, if anyone's used a digital audio workstation like Ableton, Pro Tools, Logic, whatever, different strokes for different folks, right? Doesn't matter if you drive a Toyota or Honda, you're still going to get there. But, it's really great because octaves are, you can keep on going and going, and then you put those in and then you swirl them around. And yeah, even a bass sound. Wouldn't you agree with this, Kapha, from geeking out real fast on like music production? Like just one octave on the bass can just make a huge difference on how it's showing up, especially on like a function one speaker system or something. Like you're going to feel that bass. And then a lot of producers, I'm sure you've done this too, is like you double the bass. Like you have like a grindy bass, you have a lower sub bass, and you know, you just bring in that root chakra, right? And that's that was my big epiphany too, right? Like designing music along the chakras, like, woo, I need some root. Give me the root.
And this is usually like 5 basses actually, but you know, if I'm being honest, you know, there's left, right channels and all that stuff.
So omnidirectional bass is
yeah.
You're gonna be like embraced in a bubble of Kapha bass sounds at any time. It's like the whole like chi ball. You'll be like, whoa. That's great. That Kapha, the body, right? So it's like, you know, DTO also Dave, the organism. So it's like when you can feel it in your body, feel it in your chest. And wow, I was grateful at the end of June when we were in Chicago. There was actually a concert in the park, and I hadn't been to a live anything, you know, since whenever this whole shift in the matrix happened. When we were filming our music video for The Way, right? Comes back to The Way.
Crazy.
Yeah, here we go. Okay, I have to fast forward this. So this video, okay, this is the part that goes from, this is like the dream sequence. So here's Sita Rose dreaming at the ocean. Then we go to the urban setting. Here's our panda. So awesome. All right, I'm not going to reveal all of it because I can't wait for the official launch. But as I was saying, I was at this concert in the park, and it was so amazing to feel speakers, to feel the energy of the people moving and dancing and live performers. It's an incredible band that we got to witness. I was like, yeah, you can't see them. But behind me, one thing that we had shipped to Costa Rica, I have 2 K12 QSE speakers, and then I have 2 K8s. So we were playing on this little Bluetooth, great portable temporary, and all of a sudden I plugged in those. And by the way, I played the remix for the first time on legit speakers. I was like, oh yeah, I can't wait to play this out live, just like when you're going to start doing your shows and play this music there. And there is something about the 5 bass layers or whatever you're creating that, I mean, the best analogy I can say is anyone out there, I would imagine 99% of you that's watching right now, you've been to a live show and all of a sudden the bass guitar, the kick drum starts doo, 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 and you're like, doo, 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 and you're just like feeling it and you're like, whoa. So that's the power of music, and that's how it can really inspire people to move their bodies, move their energy. And that's what we invite everyone to do. And before we go, of course, we want to make sure that we know how to connect with the both of you. So Instagram, we can get Sita Rose _yoga. So make sure you go to that Instagram page, and then we can go to kapha.music. And so how often are you guys posting on Instagram so people know what kind of content to look after?
Every couple days, usually. You know, we're usually posting songs and, you know, behind the scenes and all that kind of good stuff. So
that's awesome. Very cool. How about you, Sita Rose?
I've read the same, and I just posted a sound healing. So it's beautifully recorded, filmed in a beautiful location with like all the crystal bowls you could possibly imagine in the background, over at the Sacred Sound of the Soul.
With Amanda.
Yeah, so definitely check that out. There's a whole free 40-minute sound healing where you can download also on YouTube, where you can listen on YouTube.
All right, well, let's go right here. Just check it out. Yeah. Oh, here it is. Beautiful. Yes.
Yeah.
So amazing. Yeah, those bowls are incredible.
They're just it's such a vibe in there.
Wow. This is incredible. Got to give you a heart. Give me some extra love. This is what people do. You know how people go to Twitch to watch other people play video games? We can start a trend where people watch me go on other people's amazing Instagram pages. Hey, check this out. This is all full circle now.
Oh my gosh, I know. That's what I want to
do. This was our big launch party at the Belly Up.
Over at the Belly Up.
I mean, we sold out the Belly Up. Come on, people. The Rolling Stones have played the Belly Up. It was an incredible night. So good. And then let me hop over to Kapha Music as well, because there's great stuff. Here it is. Here's your little sample of the track coming through. Yeah, I love this one. This is awesome. I think you TikTok this one too. Yeah. How to make an exotic banger. This is so fun. Oh my gosh. Little click kick, and then you throw in the snares, and then you get it. I love the behind the scenes. This is so cool.
So great.
Yeah. And this is why I'm grateful that we had this wonderful conversation today. Oh, Jimmy Jangles. Yeah, you got to have Jimmy Jangles.
You always have Jimmy Jangles.
Exactly. It's like, what's that ingredient that's missing in that smoothie you made? Oh, the Jimmy Jangles. Yeah. Yep. So everyone out there, make sure you check out Sita Rose on her pages. It's actually sitarose.com and then kaphamusic.com. You can check me out. DTO Music, DTOmusic.com. There's the result, right? So good. Yes. So awesome. Love it. Awesome. Well, I really, really appreciate your presence today and being open to discuss whatever topic we choose. And I feel like there's a lot of people out there that are curious about their own creativity and what to do with it. And so if anyone's interested in getting mentorship on Ableton, how to create, produce music, reach out to me. I think Kapha, you teach as well. Sita Rose, you do workshops and sessions. Sharing is caring. We'd love to collaborate. We'd love to work with you as well. If you're interested in remixing any of my tracks, reach out. I know that Kapha loves to collaborate. And you're looking for anyone right now, like a vocalist, an instrumentalist, remix projects?
I'm always looking for people. I'm always looking for people. Yeah. Aces in their places. So anybody I can work with, I love getting, fresh ideas, fresh sounds, and fresh vibes. So all the time.
Love that. How about you, Sita Rose? How can we support you?
Yeah. Come be a part of my community. I've got a Facebook group for women to really connect with their voice. So if that's you and that's something that you're interested in, you can reach out to me about that. And really, I'm just here to serve. I'm here to serve the creative essence. So really, embodying that. And so if you are wanting to do that, like I'm your gal. I would love to support you.
Absolutely. Thank you. That sounds amazing. And here we go. Since you're in the center. So if you are looking for The Way, join the Facebook group that Sita Rose is offering. Join her, go to her website, sitarose.com, and then kaphamusic.com, dtomusic.com. And share this recording. Have any questions or just hit us up. We're available. One thing I've read recently about successful people in the world is that they're available. A lot of times people are like, oh, they're so successful, so you can never reach out to them. No, successful people make time to create spaciousness, right? Because what is music? It's the silence between the notes. So that's a metaphor we can chew on for a while. All right. Thank you again. I'm going to roll the ending of this amazing remix. It's available on all platforms worldwide. Whatever your favorite one is, you can go to Spotify, Pandora, Apple Music, TikTok it, just like Kapha did. And you can make it as a story, right? Make it for your Instagram story. So all you have to do is search, just put in DTO, Kapha, Sita Rose, The Way, any of those combinations, and you'll find it. And so we'll roll it. And thanks again. Appreciate you both.
Thank you, DTO.
Appreciate you guys too.
Yeah. All right. Let's go to the very end here. Thanks, everyone.